Okay, friends, I wanted to come on and give some tips and tidbits about weight loss. I want to be honest that whenever I first started this journey, back in January of last year, I was disgusted with myself, to say the least. I had to, I jumped on the scale, and I don't even remember if it was January 1st, but I think it was. And I honestly think I had probably worked out a couple of weeks before then. I was in a bad car accident in October 2013. And I think I was about in the 260s. Well, I knew I had gained some weight. I just didn't know how much. So whenever I finally jumped on the scale, January, I guess 1st it was, of 2014, I was 298 pounds. So needless to say that I was very disgusted with where I was. I don't think I weighed that much with either pregnancy. So, and of course I had 3 kids and 2 miscarriages, and I had never been that heavy. So I was the heaviest that I had ever been, and probably was over 300 pounds, but just didn't get on the scale in December. I was very afraid to get on the scale, to say the least. So anyways, some things that I just jotted down is, number one, I had to face the hard truth. Before I started the journey, sorry, my phone's ringing, but I took notes on my phone. Before I started the journey, I signed up for MyFitnessPal, and after I saw that I was 298 pounds, I decided that I was going to try to go back and think about what I had eaten over the last couple of weeks, if I could. And I just went MyFitnessPal and I logged everything that I could remember. And then I just began to log everything that I would eat, for that next week or so that I could face the hard truth about how many calories I was getting, what I was really eating. I just wanted to know, how much food am I consuming? And I'm recording on my iPad, or I would pull it up. But I do remember that there were days that I was eating like 3,000, 3,600 calories. It was unbelievable. Now, mind you, I do a lot of driving. I feed doctors all the time. Do a lot of lunches and things like that. So to eat Applebee's or Burger King or Subway or some of these especially mom and pop places, and to have lunch and a dessert, you can rack up almost 2,000 calories right there. So anyways, I just had to, number one, face the hard truth about what I was eating. And I did that through starting a MyFitnessPal account, and I just started recording everything that I was eating. Then the second thing that I did is I knew that I did not want to start anything that I could not sustain. So I knew my weight was. I recorded in my phone, and then I took my measurements. And I think since then I've changed phones, but if I can remember, I think my waist at that time was like a 52 or 53. So you're talking about maybe the stomach of like a 7, 8, 9 month pregnant woman, what it would equate to for me. And the reason that I'm sharing this is because, it's tough to put yourself out there like that. But I'm sharing it because I want people to know where I was. I am 5'9", so I'm tall. And people say to me all the time, you don't look like you weigh this much. You don't look like you weigh that much. But if you go back and you see my pics, I was a butterball. I was a butterball. And I didn't realize it until I just looked back. And this is December 29th, and I was looking back for something the other night, and I saw those pictures. Now, I took pictures the whole way because I felt like with weight loss, I want to see immediate results. And I knew I wasn't going to take any pills or do anything like that, so I wasn't going to see any immediate results. I wasn't having surgery. And so I took pictures of myself with bra and panties on, front ways, sideways, and back. I did measurements of my bust, my waist, my legs, and my arms. I didn't take my hips, I just did my legs. And like I said, I think my waist at the time was a 52, and I think now it's like a 44. And I wanted to lose 98 pounds in a year. and thinking that it would be very easy. Now, I will tell you, the more weight the bigger you are, you'll probably see faster drops at first. But as you lose weight, you will be losing a lot more inches, which to me is more complimentary than even pounds, because you can drop a lot of pounds and not be losing inches, but then you can start losing inches and not lose pounds. So remember that. So number one, begin to face what you're really eating. Look at it. Go back and log what you've eaten. This is the perfect time because you've had no filter. It's been over holidays. You've been hanging with friends. Log it, because usually that's really how we eat. So log that, and then take your weight and then take your measurements. And then what I would encourage you to do if you have an iPad or a phone is I would take pictures of yourself in bra and panties, forward, sideways, and backwards. Why is that? Because in the first few months, you may feel like you're not losing weight, but as you take pictures, try to do it the same time every month, you will see that structurally your body will start changing, which will give you encouragement. I will post my pictures, but as a minister, I'm kind of struggling with it because, I have bra panties on. So trying to figure out how I can post these pictures where they would be privately for people if they needed that for encouragement. But I just don't want you to think I have the worst body in the world. I can never get this weight off. And mind you, I was traveling this journey basically by myself because a lot of women aren't comfortable sharing their weight. I'm okay with it because my weight's not me. I had to come to grips with some things for myself. My whole life I've been a heavier kid. I was a heavier teenager, the heaviest cheerleader or one of the heaviest cheerleaders. But it never stopped me from doing anything I wanted to do. But I had to really come to grips with some things because I was always being pushed to lose weight as a kid. I resented the fact of having to lose weight because I felt like somebody was trying to say that I wasn't good enough for just to be me in the size that I was in. So I had to really grapple with that and lay that to rest and know that I wasn't losing weight for anybody else. I wasn't losing weight to compete. I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to sleep better. I want my clothes to look a certain way. I say I'm journeying to 200 pounds because that's the weight I was before I had Destin and Davin, and I know what I look like then, and I'm comfortable with that. And my friends are like, oh, just get to 199 to say you're out of 200. I don't really care about that. So my thing is I wanted my clothes to fit a certain way, and I remember what I look like at that weight, so that's why I say 200. But who knows, if I get to 220 and I have lean body mass and I look the way I want to, then I'll stop there. If I get 200 and I still not look the way that I want my clothes to look, then I'll go further. But the point is that I want to be healthier. I want to look a certain way in my clothes, and I want to feel comfortable in the skin that I'm in. And I want to be able to kind of shop where I want to shop. I love Lane Bryant. Don't get me wrong. Love Lane Bryant, Ashley Stewart, love all those places. But there are also some clothes in some other places that I like too, and I want to wear those clothes too. So anyways, my goal is to probably be like a 13, 14, maybe 11, 12, somewhere in there. I'm not trying to do anything ridiculous. I don't feel like at 200 pounds, I'm probably gonna look like I'm on crack. I'm not. Hello, I won't be on crack. But I just remember the clothes and what I look like. So that's the second thing. So face the truth about where you are, what you're eating. Face the truth about how you've gotten there. And for me, I was lax. I won't say I was lazy because I've always been active in pretty much, I've always been active. There have been years that I wasn't active. I didn't do anything, but I still wasn't lazy. But I would say that I've been lax in my health when it came to my health and wellness. I was uneducated about food and about weight, and I'm not an expert, but I am educating myself and I'm still learning. And I made excuses for myself. Like after the car wreck, there was a lot of self-loathing. There was a lot of fear that tried to grip me. I was feeling sorry for myself. I was nursing a knee. I did not know if it was ever going to get better, if I'd ever be able to run again, walk again. I mean, the only thing I just did was I sat in the house. I couldn't really go anywhere anyway. And I just ate. or I get ice cream, or if somebody wanted to take me out. Of course, I want to get out. Well, what do? We go eat, because I couldn't really walk. And then, starting to work again and stress, and then just babysitting this knee, it was awful. And so I really just kind of felt sorry for myself. And so, but then I realized too that I ate when I was happy. You hang out with your friends, let's go eat. You're feeling good, let's go eat. So really, I feel like that for me, I had to be honest about, I celebrate around food. I comfort with food. Then there's a natural part that you have to cook food. You have to eat. And so those were things that I really had to come to grips with. If I'm irritated with somebody, or, the type of job that I do, because I'm in marketing and sales, if you're upset, you can't really vent that or show that. So you internalize that a lot. And so now I try to do more venting, even if I don't have a person to vent to. Of course, I try to vent to God. I try to get that stuff out of me before it starts to eat at me, and then it's eating at me and I'm feeding it. And so I try to allow God to comfort me whenever I say that. I want to go off on people too. I want to have a bad day too, but you feel like you can't in sales many times, because you got to eat humble pie for the business, or you're at work and they don't understand what you're dealing with out there. You know how it goes. And so anyways, and not to make excuses, it's just something that I basically say, you know what, you got to figure out a better way to manage this, to cope with this. And so that's kind of been a journey in and of itself, and the journey is still continuing with that. So let me see what else. Something else that I learned, because I was saying that, I was talking about some of the reasons why I was the size I was. I was lax, I was uneducated, and I made excuses for myself. I talked a little bit about that. But then also I had cravings. And one thing that I was glad that I learned is that although some of the cravings were psychological, some of the cravings were food induced. And I'll talk about that a little later, about the lifestyle that I've transitioned to, and really trying to figure out how to, that lifestyle, how it best fits me. I'm trying to own it as my own. But the one thing that I know and I've learned too is that food can also induce cravings. Some of them can be psychological, like I like blizzards, and there's times that I crave blizzards. Well, some of that's psychological. You need a blizzard, no more than a drug, because food does release endorphins, and so endorphins make you feel better. And so that's why you can become addicted to food. But particularly sweets. But then also, if you're drinking a lot of sodas, or if you're eating a lot of sugary foods, or eating a lot of bread and pastas, then you're going to have food-induced cravings also. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that. So for motivation, okay, how did I get motivated? Number one, I believe you have to get mad. And my definition of mad is move away, destructively. That's what we usually do, the people. When we get mad, we usually do something destructive. Well, I want this to be a destructive move that you do, but it's toward food. So I started watching, and it was on Netflix. I love documentaries. And I saw this one documentary, Fat, Sick, Nearly Dead. I started watching that. Well, that sparked that man's journey and his size, and how he began juicing and losing weight. Well, that sparked me to watch Food Inc., and then Hungry for Change, and Forks Over Knives, Inside McDonald's, Farmageddon, and all these documentaries, because I love documentaries. They began to make me mad. They began to make me angry. I wanted to start moving away, destructively, but it really wasn't destructively, away from food. And so then I watched Sugar is Toxic on YouTube, and it was very eye-opening. And I remember actually a professor of mine had did a analogy about sugar in our class, and she alluded to that a few years ago, and I remembered that talk that she gave. And so I went and looked up the Sugar is Toxic YouTube. I think it was 2020 or someone that did the special, and I missed it on TV. But anyways, these documentaries and specials made me very angry at food and what I was doing to myself. And it made it a little easier to say no in the beginning. It made it easier because here I am sabotaging myself with food, or the fact that I like to eat certain things, and I would justify, well, I gotta eat anyway, so why not eat this? But it almost gave me a little strength to, and a little inward fortitude to say, I don't want to eat that. Sometimes you feel like if you go to McDonald's, why can't I just order a salad? Or why can't I just order this over that? It seems like it'd be that simple, but for some reason it's not, because of the relationship that we have with the food. But then the food and me watching these documentaries almost the food was like a bad breakup. I realized what it was doing to me, and I thought, I don't want to do that to myself. Or I would ask myself, do you really want to do that to yourself? One thing my husband would always say, if he see me making cookies or something, he'd be like, I don't even know why you do that to yourself. Well, that kind of clicked after I saw these documentaries. I thought, I don't want to do that to myself. And so that's what I would say. I'd say, you know what? I don't want to do that to myself, because it was like a bad relationship. No more than I'm going to let some man sit up and beat me up and abuse me and do all that. Why would I let food do that to myself? So those things actually gave me motivation and education. And so let me say this. I would say, don't start something you can't sustain. So not only did I start tracking what I was eating before I started losing weight, I wanted to face it. I just wanted to face the hard truth of what I was eating. Then I took my weight, I took my measurements, and I wanted to know where I was, and I took pictures. I didn't say anything to anybody necessarily about me losing weight, but the one thing that I did is I did not want to start something that I couldn't sustain. So I tried juicing at first. I juiced for maybe about a week or so. It is very expensive. Refreshing, yes. Can you find juices that taste great? Yes, they're delicious. Even some that are made with kale and those type of things. And so I did that at first, but it is so expensive. And I wanted something that I could sustain. I wanted a lifestyle that I could sustain. So I kicked that quickly to the curb. Now I still would do kale shakes and smoothies and stuff like that in the morning with my protein shakes. But I just totally kicked that out. So then I learned about clean eating. And clean eating, I would say, was one of the things that was very helpful to me. Now, let me say this too, is that there are a ton of food plans out there. You have the traditional American diet that most people are on. They're not losing weight, they're gaining weight. You have clean eating, you can count calories, low fat. Dr. N has a diet, South Beach has a diet, Mr. Atkins has a diet. You have pills, you have surgery, you have ketogenic diets, you have all these diets. I would say are these lifestyles. I don't like to call it diet. For me, I'm trying to make this a lifestyle. And for a year, it pretty much has been a lifestyle. I've struggled to learn how to make it fit in some areas, like Thanksgiving. How do you do that? Christmas, whenever you have church events. How do you make it fit for some areas when I travel? But I'm doing better with incorporating that lifestyle. Now you have to remember, at my age, for 30-something odd years, I've eaten a certain way. So in 1 year, it's not all going to go away. But I'm having to learn to modify, pre-plan, meal plan, those type of things. So I would say pick a plan. Clean eating was great. Basically, the idea around clean eating is you eat the outside perimeter of the grocery store. You stay away from anything processed. So all veggies, all fruits, all meats. Now you have some people that are real extreme clean eaters. They only eat grass-fed or farm-fed and raised foods. I wasn't that particular because, I do understand the hormones. I watch the movies, but I hadn't got that into it yet. But I did clean eating. And some of the small goals that I set for myself, when I was 298, I wanted to try to get to 295. So I just want to lose 3 pounds. And then clean eating, what I did is every week I introduced a new fruit, vegetable, or meat that I hadn't eaten before. So for example, I ate asparagus. I've eaten like cauliflower and dip enough to know I didn't like it, but not really ever cooked with it. Jicama, I don't know, pretty much every vegetable out there now. I'd say squash. I'd never eaten spaghetti squash. I'd never eaten eggplant. I had never eaten, I don't know, I think I may have eaten asparagus, I don't remember, but asparagus. There were certain fruits I never tried, star fruit, pomegranate. There were just certain things I had never tried. I drank pomegranate juice, but never eaten the fruit. I never had, outside of a can, I never had cut up a pineapple and ate fresh pineapple in my house. And so anyways, I started buying all these just fresh fruits and veggies, and instead of my kids even asking for cereal and sweets and stuff, they'd ask for, can I have an apple? Can I have some strawberries? Can I have watermelon? Can I have this? Can I have that? And that made me feel great, you know. And I was cooking with peppers and celery and onions and adding all this flavor to food. And believe it or not, you know, I called a girlfriend of mine who's very savvy with seasonings, and I was asking her, what is this seasoning? What is that seasoning? And she was trying to tell me, you know, how I could do ginger or garlic out of the veggie section. And then finally she said, I think you better just go down the seasoning aisle and pick it up. Because some of this stuff I never heard of before. So anyways, it's truly been a journey, and I've learned a lot about food. So clean eating is what I did for months. And so instead of spaghetti, what I tried to do is figure out how to make that food healthy. I like pasta. I love chicken Alfredo. Love it. Well, there's something, and I hope I'm saying this right, but I call them Shaharski noodles. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. But Walmart has these noodles, Shaharski noodles, and they have no carbs. And they are in the fruit and vegetable section. And whenever you cut them open, I go on YouTube. YouTube was my friend to learn about maybe what the texture was, if people said it tastes close to something. And so I went, and they said, you know, when you cut it open, it smells like fish, something about the water and the noodles when it mix, but you rinse it off real good and the fish smell leaves. It did. I actually rinsed it off even with dishwasher liquid because I just didn't want the fish smell that bad. And then I put them in a skillet and boiled the water off of them because they kind of soak up the water. And that's what I made fettuccine Alfredo with. And I buy, you know, I bought it from Trader Joe's, but they actually have Kroger's is great if you're doing like a clean eating, or if you don't want stuff with a lot of sugar. They have a great organic section. I would buy Alfredo sauce that had very low sugar or no sugar. You can kind of look at the carbs. I learned to read labels, and I still read labels. I read them faithfully. And you basically, if you're eating clean, it's the original ingredient. Like tomato sauce will just say tomato and sauce. It won't say tomato sauce, sugar, citric acid, this, that. It'll just have usually like 5 or less ingredients, or 2 and less ingredients. But if you have all that other junk, is where you're going to get a lot of added preservatives and things like that that could maybe pack on pounds. So I would use those noodles to make spaghetti. Or I tried zucchini, and I bought a spirella. And you don't have to buy spirella. You can cut the zucchini if you want. But I did a spirella to make them in noodles. And I made zucchini spaghetti, which was really good. I made zucchini lasagna. So anyways, I found a way to, I looked at everything that I ate. And then I started asking myself, how can I make it clean? You can Google Gracious Pantry. That lady has done a great work. She has clean turkey chili. She has clean this, clean that. You can Google clean whatever it is you eat, and somebody out there can teach you or can show you how to make that clean, which was unbelievable. I made cauliflower rice. So I love Chinese food, and chicken fried rice. So I used cauliflower as rice. It was okay. I still got to tweak it. I've got a couple more recipes that I'm going to try with it. The first one was just okay. General Tso chicken. Now that was good. I made that. That was good. Instead of flour, you can use almond meal. You can use, I also use pork rinds. You can use coconut flour. Almond meal is just ground up almonds. You can use sunflower seeds, grind them up, and it makes flour. And so if you have a good blender or even a coffee grinder, those type of things, they work good. Then you can sift it. Some of this stuff is work. I'm not going to tell you, but that's, you know, goes back to that laxity, just being lax. But anyways, so pick a plan is what I was going to say. And the only plan that, there's only 2 plans that I can tell you about that I've used is clean eating. And then now I do more of a ketogenic. It's a high fat low carb plan, and I still do that plan clean. So I don't do processed foods. I just try not to touch it. And like I said, that's been tough. I still make tacos. I make fajitas. I don't do the tortilla shells. You can make your own tortilla shells. I gotta buy me a machine. But right now I'm doing the wraps. So I do use like lettuce wraps. And by the time you take lettuce and fill it up with taco meat and sour cream and lettuce and cheese and all that, and you eat it, I didn't really miss the wrap. Now sometimes I still eat Burger King, McDonald's, all that. I don't eat the bun. I don't buy fries. I'll get the burger because I'm on a high fat. Our body is like 76% fat. So why not feed it what it wants? And now that your body can, and all this, I'm going too fast, I'm sure, and I'll try to get in other videos, but your body burns two fuels, either sugar or your body can burn fat. Well, if you eat high carbs or so many carbs a day, then your body's going to burn sugar, and after it's burned what its max burning state is for that day, it's going to store that sugar as fat. But if you will get your sugar levels down so low, and sugar is basically in most of the stuff that we eat, but if you can bring your sugar levels down so low by watching your carbs, then you switch your body from burning sugar to burning fat. That's the stored stuff. And if you're eating the right amount of protein, then you're not losing muscle, but your body is actually burning all the fat that it has stored over the years. Well, that's what I'm doing now. So that's the lifestyle, clean and a high fat, low carb lifestyle. So it's called ketogenic. So you can look it up there. It's been researched. It actually improves performance. Kobe Bryant, all these athletic people, this is exactly how they eat because they want that lean muscle mass. Now the challenge is that you have to cook, or you have to meal prep, or if you go out to eat, then you have to think about what you're going to order. Do I miss French fries? Yes. Do I miss baked potatoes? Yes. I don't eat baked potatoes. They're clean, but they're very high in carbs. So I'm not eating baked potatoes. I might take a couple bites of something sometime, but not really, because my taste buds, they can't fight against the starchy sugar very well. Once it's introduced, it's like, phew, it just soars. But the amazing thing about eating high fat, low carb, once you get your carb levels down, you get your blood sugar stabilized, cravings disappear. It is amazing. So I try not to introduce it. I still have hot chocolate. I still have sweets. I make brownies. I make cookies. I make all that stuff. I just make it clean, high fat, low carb. And so anyway, so what did I want to tell you right now? We're almost at 30 minutes. I didn't want to be at that long. Number one, I want you to pick a plan. Go research a plan. If you want to inbox me more about clean eating and how to get started, I can tell you that. But basically, it's the outside perimeter of the grocery store. That's it. You can eat cheese and sour cream and all that, but it's just, you can eat Greek yogurt. Plain Greek yogurt, you know, sometimes you put some agave in it. There's some things that you can get inside the perimeter, and especially if you're very large, this helps you kind of gradually pull back on the food. Now, if you are at a place that you're trying to lose like the last 15, 20 pounds, clean eating is a great way to go, but you still got to be careful of all the sugar that you put in your system. So, but if you want to get started, clean eating is a great way to start. Fruits, veggies, meats. Fruits, veggies, meats. The outside, shop the inside for some few condiments and sugars and stuff like that that you're going to use. I stay away from all regular sugar now. I either use Truvia or I use Swerve or Splenda at times. And I love Splenda, but I'm even backing off of Splenda because Splenda has shown to spike blood sugars. And so that triggers hunger. And then the reason that once you get if your blood sugar gets spiked, insulin gets released, has to bring the blood sugar down. When blood sugar bottoms out, you get hungry, sparks hunger. And then you eat again, blood sugar goes up, insulin does its job, bring it down. then you get hungry again. That's why we have this, oh, I'm always hungry, oh, I'm always hungry. But if you can stabilize blood sugar, then you can actually feel satiated and you can lessen hunger. You could go hours without eating. And I don't agree with that. You have to eat 6 small meals a day. I'm not going to argue with anybody about it, but if you research it, you stabilize blood sugar, you kick yourself into burning fat instead of glucose, then you don't have to worry about how many times you eat a day. Most people, a lot of people that I know even do it intermittent fasting. So some of them don't eat after 2 or 3 o'clock, then they don't eat till the next day. And you would think, well, how do they do that? Won't they be hungry? You're not hungry. So anyways, pick a plan is what I would tell you, is pick a plan. Couple plans I can tell you about is clean eating. I can tell you about low carb and ketogenic. The rest of them, the traditional American diet, you know, we all know that one. Dr. N, South Beach, pills and surgery, I don't really know much about. I'm not a big proponent of pills because even though it will stop, I know exactly how they work, but even though they will stop you from feeling hungry, you can drop weight fast. But once you start taking the pills, you're going to gain weight. You usually gain more weight than you did because of how chemically the pills, phentermine or whatever, or quizamate or whatever it is, affects you. So I would say those would be the things that I would tell you today. Number 1 is face the truth about what you're doing, how you've gotten there. And a lot of large people, I hear them say, I don't eat a lot, and you probably don't, but you may be carb sensitive. And this was some of the best wisdom that I ever heard. If you have celiac disease or if you have an intolerance to gluten, nobody in the world tells you to eat more gluten. Nobody does. If you have lactose intolerant and you are able to drink milk because of the lactose, nobody says drink more milk, do they? Well, if you have a carb intolerance and you are carb sensitive, and whenever you eat a lot of carbs, you crave more carbs, you can't get satisfied, you're always hungry, or you gain weight very easy and you're not eating a lot of food, maybe you're carb sensitive. Well, guess what? You don't eat more carbs. You back off the carbs. I'm carb sensitive. I know that I'm carb sensitive. And as soon as my taste buds taste all that sugary, starchy stuff, boom, they lose control. So I'm not going to eat more carbs. I tell people I eat like a diabetic, even though I'm not. And most diabetics don't even eat like they're supposed to. But if they did, a lot of people could reverse diabetes because your blood sugars can get down, so you can get them in at a place that they're stabilized, and your pancreas is not having to pump out all that insulin, that you can actually reverse the diagnosis of diabetes. But you must eat like a diabetic, and most diabetics don't. Most diabetics still eat the cakes and the sweets and the pastas and all that kind of stuff, and it's not that it's easy, because it's not. It's hard. However, again, give yourself a chance. There's some supplements over the counter that you can take that would also help you with cravings. But within about 2 to 3 days, you will see that the cravings will drop off. You will see, I mean, you will be able to notice that the cravings will drop off. But anyways, not trying to sell you on the lifestyle I've chosen. That's just the one that works for me. But pick one. Pick a plan. Pick some type of lifestyle plan. And then you would have to get whatever your plan is, make call for certain macros. Macros are basically how many proteins, carbs, fiber, calories, whatever it is that you can have. And I will do another video on macros and how to figure that out, and how to use MyFitnessPal to program your macros to track your food. And I know people don't like to track and log food, but we track our gas. Hopefully you track your bank account. You know, people track their blood sugars. You track your grades. Why not track your food? We've got to know what our limits are. I pretty much can know how much gas, once the E-light comes on, how many miles I can go till I go on empty. So why not know how much I need to put in my system before I gain weight? That's basically macros, or how much to put in my system to lose weight. That's macros. And it is, I think, a science to it. But at first, if you're large, the good part is that any substantial change is going to help you lose weight. But it's once you lose a lot of weight that you really have to refine the macros and get them exact, so to speak. But anyways, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning in all this. I'm just trying to be helpful. But pick a plan. Please look at why you're gaining weight. Face the truth. Get MyFitnessPal. Get your food in there. Start looking at what you've done over the last week. If you don't know, start tracking the next 3 days, no filter. Just eat like you normally would. Get ready for the new year. Get on a scale. Go buy $1.50 tape measure and do your arms, do your waist, do your leg, your thighs, and do your bust. And then write it down. And then we're going to talk about later on like little small successes. Like I said, I wanted to go from 298 to 295. From 295 to 290. From 290 to 285. I looked at small increments. I didn't try to tackle the whole thing. You know, there's a saying, how do you eat an elephant? Little by little. And so that's what I was doing, little by little. And like I said, I didn't say, I'm going to go change all my pantry around. I didn't do that. I have kids. I have a husband. I've got me, you know, and so I just said, I want to try to introduce myself to a new fruit or vegetable or meat every week. And so I'd add something in, then guess what? Try to take something out. If you can't fully take it out, try to lessen the amount of times that you eat it. Only allow yourself maybe to eat bread with one meal, one slice of bread. Buy Ezekiel bread instead of regular bread. You know, there's different things that you can do. If you still like bread, don't go get that white bread. Wheat Belly book is a great book. You can look at the video. The man did the whole thing on video. Go look at the video while the bread and flour makes us fat. But Ezekiel bread may be a good switch for now until maybe you can start making almond breads or different kind of breads. So anyways, okay, I'm gonna stop. I hope that helps, and I will try to post another video in the next couple of days. See you soon. If you have any comments, put them below. I'll try to get some answers. Again, I'm not an expert, but I'm beginning to get experience and I'm learning. And I'm 55 pounds down and I have 43, maybe, more pounds to go. Thanks so much. Love you guys. I want to be here for support and for community. So reach out to me and I'll do my best to answer any questions or try to find some answers. Thanks so much.